In the parable of the unjust steward in Luke chapter 16, is Jesus somehow endorsing shady and dishonest business practices? Let's take a look. Luke chapter 16, verse 1, "And he said also unto his disciples, There was a certain rich man which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him and said unto him, How is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, for thou mayest no longer steward." The boss calls him in. I've heard some pretty shady things about you, that you've been dishonest, you've been lying and cheating and stealing to get ahead. Get your accounts in order. You're toast. You're fired. Then the steward said within himself, What shall I do? For my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship. I cannot dig, to beg I am ashamed. I don't want to go and do manual labor, and I'm too ashamed to go and beg. Right away, this kind of a character, as a Christian, our red flag should go up. He's too high and mighty to do manual labor, and he's too ashamed to beg, but he's not too ashamed to embezzle. Let's keep reading. "I am resolved what to do, that when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses." I got a plan. I got a way of cheating my boss and doing some favors, some shady, dishonest favors for some other people. So when I lose this job, I'll have a favor waiting for me in a new job. "So he called every one of his Lord's debtors unto him, and said unto the first, How much owest thou unto my Lord? And he said, 100 measures of oil. And he said unto him, Take thy bill, sit down, and quickly write 50. Quickly, sneaky haste. Scratch that out. How much do you owe my boss? 100 measures of oil. Okay, quickly scratch that out and write down only 50. He's stealing from his boss. Then said he to another, How much owest thou? And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said unto him, Take thy bill and write 80. Or scratch that out and write 80. We can see what he's doing here. He's stealing from his boss. He's dishonest. And he's wheeling and dealing, trying to do favors to get ahead in this world. And, I should ask you, since when did Jesus ever say that we are supposed to try to get ahead in this world? Aren't we supposed to be trying to get ahead in the next world? Verse 8, "And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely," or shrewdly. "For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light." This is a warning from Christ. The children of this world, Satan's shallow and materialistic world, are wiser, sneakier, more shrewd than the children of light, than Jesus Christ's disciples. So watch out for how they wheel and deal to try to get ahead. "And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that when ye fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitation." So what isn't glaringly obvious here, but it should be obvious if we use some common sense, is that this is a question from Jesus Christ. Again, you have to remember, when the Greek Bible was translated into English, they didn't have punctuation. So again, it's not glaringly obvious, as is commonly taught here. Is Jesus somehow implying that we should emulate shady, dishonest business behaviors in some way to get ahead in this world? Or is he warning us about this kind of behavior, and how we, as disciples of Christ, are to keep our integrity and walk in a moral way as God commands us to walk? The answer should be obvious. Jesus is saying, did I tell you to lie and cheat and steal to try to get ahead and make friends with this world? The answer should be obvious. No. "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches?" Jesus is saying, if you, walking in this world, sink to its level and get caught up in the shallow, immoral, material, shady business practices of this world, how can I trust you with the real riches, with kingdom service in the millennium, leading into the millennium, in the millennium, and through eternity? Again, Jesus explains it using common sense. No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. Mammon being the personification, Satan, no doubt, but the personification of materialism. This shallow materialistic system that we live in. Jesus is saying, you can't act in a shady, dishonest way here, making friends by wheeling and dealing and lying and cheating and stealing to get ahead. If you want to be trusted with the riches of this gospel, understanding God's word, leading his children, and preparing for kingdom service in the millennium.